Today, we're going to dive into one of the most powerful business books ever written, Good to Great by Jim Collins. But we're going to look at it through a very specific lens, how its game-changing principles apply to a field where the stakes are quite literally life and death, healthcare. This one sentence is the entire foundation for our conversation today. It's such a simple idea, but it's a massive challenge to every leader out there, especially in a world where being good can make us feel comfortable and complacent, and it forces us to ask a really important question. And just like that, this whole idea shifts, right? It's no longer just a business strategy. It becomes a moral imperative. For every single physician, nurse, and healthcare leader, this means the drive for greatness isn't just a nice to have. It is a core responsibility to the people you care for. So here's our game plan. First, we'll unpack why good is so dangerous in patient care. Then we'll walk through the actual path to greatness. We'll talk about leadership, getting the right team, finding clarity, and building momentum. And finally, we'll bring it all back to what truly matters, the patient. You know, in a lot of industries, being a good company is a perfectly fine goal. But in healthcare, it's just a totally different reality. The space between a good outcome and a great one can change everything for a patient and their family. The stakes are just profoundly higher. Okay, so how do we actually make that leap from good to great? Well, what's so fascinating about Collins's research is that he didn't find some secret formula or magic bullet. What he found was a clear, consistent framework that the great organizations all followed. It's a journey of disciplined transformation. And this journey isn't about some flashy new initiative or a big launch event. It's a process, and it's built on 3 fundamental stages, starting with the most important one of all, the people you have on your team. This brings us right to that first stage, disciplined people. Collins argues, and this is so powerful, that before you can figure out where you're going, before you set a vision or a strategy, you have to first decide who is going on the journey with you. Turns out every single great organization in his study was led by what he calls a level 5 leader. Now, these aren't the celebrity CEOs you see on magazine covers. They're incredibly ambitious, yes, but their ambition is for the cause, for the team, for the patient, never for themselves. They're just relentlessly driven to produce amazing, sustainable results. And that type of leadership leads to what Collins calls the single most important principle in the entire book. It boils a leader's #1 priority down to just 4 simple words: leaders first. This is the absolute bedrock of the entire concept. Great leaders get the right people on the bus, and just as importantly, they get the wrong people off the bus. It's only after they have the right team in the right seats that they figure out where to drive the bus. Everything else, vision, strategy, new tech, all of it comes after you get the who right. And building that team comes down to 3 really specific disciplines. First, never compromise on hiring. If you have any doubt, just keep looking. Second, when you know you need to make a change, you have to act. Don't delay. And third, and this one is huge, put your absolute best people on your biggest opportunities, not just firefighting your biggest problems. Okay, so you've got the right team on the bus. Now what? The next stage is all about disciplined thought. This is where you have to confront the brutal, honest facts of your reality and find a simple, piercing clarity that guides every single decision you make. Collins uses this fantastic old parable to explain it. The fox is clever, right? It sees all the complexity and tries a million different things. But the hedgehog? The hedgehog knows one big thing, and it does that one thing perfectly. Great organizations think like the hedgehog. They slice through all the complexity of healthcare to find their one unifying concept. So this hedgehog concept isn't just a goal or a mission statement. It's a deep, factual understanding that you find at the intersection of 3 brutally honest questions. And notice that first one, it's not what you want to be the best at, it's what you truly can be the best at. This is the clarity that gives you the discipline to say no to all the good ideas that fall outside of these 3 circles. This is so important to remember. Greatness never, ever happens overnight. There is no miracle moment. It's the result of building steady, relentless momentum, piece by piece, push by push, day by day. Good to great organizations build what Collins calls a flywheel. They make consistent, disciplined pushes all in one direction. The comparison companies, on the other hand, they get stuck in what he calls the doom loop. And you've probably seen this. They try to skip the hard work with some big new program, it fails to deliver, and that leads to more reactive decisions and disappointment. It just drains all the energy. Every great transformation, whether it's for a single hospital unit or an entire health system, starts exactly the same way, with one consistent, disciplined push on that heavy flywheel, all pointed in the direction of your hedgehog concept. And here's the magic. With each push, the flywheel starts the turn a little easier. The weight of all your accumulated results, the small wins, the better processes, the trust you're building, it all starts to work for you. And then, one day, you hit that point of breakthrough, where it feels like the flywheel has a momentum all its own. So let's bring this all home. Why does any of this, level 5 leaders, hedgehogs, flywheels, why does it matter so much in healthcare? Well, it all comes back to the patient. Because a great healthcare organization, one built on these principles, delivers results you can actually see and measure. Disciplined teams make fewer errors. A crystal clear focus leads to better clinical outcomes. A culture of greatness fights burnout and boosts morale. And all of this leads to the most important metric of all, earning deeper patient trust and confidence. That is the ultimate payoff. Look, this framework is so much more than just a business school case study. It's a genuine call to action. It is a roadmap for any leader who believes that for our patients, good is simply not good enough. So the real question this leaves us with is this: where will you begin? What is the very first disciplined push you'll make to get your flywheel turning?